Hi, everybody. Please bear with me. I'm overstimulated. I was just listening to some Space Hog. If you don't know who Space Hog are, now's your chance. Hey. Why I typed that? That's what I'm talking about. I was overstimulated. All right, so we'll put it on the standard thing. One-page comic idea. Sounds good. Let's have it. There we go. All right. Hi, everybody. I hope everyone has had a wonderful day. It has been a very busy day for me. And I think that in Busy Wizzy Day, I'm feeling good. I got some stuff done, a bunch of things to put together. I got an exciting thing in the mail. Woo! So I'm going to show you that. Very, 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 very pleased. So today's one-page comic idea is on the screen. We'll talk about that in a second. I realized that recently there's something that I have forgotten to do. And what that thing is, I'm glad you asked. I thought that I'd do a drawing on colored cardstock today. Tell me it's not true, Chris. I won't do that. I won't lie to you like that. Okay. So let me switch cameras for a quick sec. This is today's page. It is my idea. That's what today's page is called. And so the original, all on one page. Oh, don't be sneaking peeks. Okay. So I drew the page on one sheet of paper. Pretty much. There's really no alteration to this page at all. It's all done traditionally. The only thing I added was borders to the panels. So this is the page I did. It's a ballpoint pen. There's watercolor. There's a little bit of paint pen and a couple of markers. That's it. Gray marker for the outlines and a red marker for the outlines. Bing bong. And other than that, it's just pencil. So colored pencil, a pencil. So that's the result is right there. So it's yet another one of these stories that's not really a whole story. It's the whole notion of investing heavily in this whole arc of big happenstance, isn't always necessary. You can just really establish an identifiable narrative, bring in a character who is speaking us into the context of the story. And then I'm a big proponent of the idea of taking a turn. So you've got somebody saying, oh, well, I just wanted to give my own contribution. I really like the idea of it. And so this negotiative way of this character's introducing themselves into this dynamic between themselves and the person across from them. And the reason I don't show the person across from them until I do the responsive reveal is because ostensibly they're talking to the viewer, they're talking to the reader, the audience. So this whole, I got an idea, right? And so do you want to hear what I've been thinking? And there's no confirmation because textually on the page, because ideally the reader goes, yeah, let's go. And so then we take the linear leap. This is where we have they start saying it's, and whatever it is that they say, we immediately get the response from the person they're saying it to. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's not the reaction I was hoping to get. That's it. That's the entire narrative. A story doesn't always have to be this absolutely fantastic thing. Friend Gary shared an image the other day on one of his social feeds where it has one character saying to the next, Are you always so sure of yourself? And the second character's response is, yes, with a question mark. Just, that's all you need. That's the whole, you just need some kind of identifiable engagement between either the characters with one another or the characters with the readers or the viewers, or you just need some kind of identifiable something that establishes that there's really an idea that's being expressed. And so this is just another approach to that. Yesterday's Barry's Bad Soup situation is really similar in the regard that this is about Barry's narrative about him going to a place and trying some soup. It looked pretty nice. The taste of it, yeah. Why? It doesn't. There's not much of a deeper resonance to that, but it is a story, and it is told in a sequential format, right? It's the same as the simplicity of, hey, who's got two thumbs in a thumbless world? So this guy doing this, dancing around in this sort of inanimate space. He's this sort of overly animate, waving his body around, showing off his thumbs in all these poses, right? And hey, and everybody else doesn't have thumbs, and they're about fed up with this guy. So it ends with this guy, to immediately have him be attacked by all the thumbless hands. So, that's the thing about I'm trying to engage with in story and all these different stylistic approaches and these different visual approaches, is I'm trying to explore and examine an idea. So there's all kinds of avenues that we can take this through. So this is part of what drives the engine on my automobile. So anyways, and again, just different approaches each time, right? Just trying different medium, which gives different results, but you can always see there's an underlying similarity in my work, and it's just how the tightness or cleanness of it, depending on the medium involved. So other medium, there's far more management of, I find. So it just takes time, just takes practice. That's how you get to Carnegie Hall, I understand. That in a time machine. Okay, so a couple things just in case I forgot to do these. Let me I have been picking up random things of late while I was in Toronto, and I don't know if I showed some of this. This is a book called Faces of New York. Don't remember where I found this. It was some sort of reused bookstore, but it had a sleeve on it. The whole thing is just photographs of people in New York. So talk about some fun in the sun, right? It was, it's a sort of a gift, something like this, because it just gives you so many different faces of humanity. This guy is bear. It's great. So this is something that is going to allow me to import some new visual ideas into the pages. I've been enjoying these a lot, right? This is Gary Hodges' books, the DVSM. Well, this is the first one of them. And I've been enjoying the heck out of these. If you hadn't had a chance to go and check those out, you better go and do so. All the cool kids at the back of the bus are doing it. This is a illustration magazine that I got in Toronto. It's $20. It's worth it. It's beautiful. And part of what I enjoy so much about some of what I enjoy so much about it is there's an approach in the graphic elements of these old magazine articles and book covers and stuff that they tell us the subtle narrative, the subtle nuance. So in human expression and gesticulation that I just can't describe. What do we got? Who's this kid? Paul Pate. Hey, you got the day off work. Paul, you want to join? Maybe you want to join, Paul. I got some exciting stuff for next. I don't know. I could wait for my exciting stuff if you want to join in. He says the dramatic waiting. All right. Well, I'm going to set that over here for a second off of the camera. This is I've chose a colored paper to work on today. Yeah. So I thought I would do a little bit of fun. There. The other book that I picked up in Toronto was, of course, this facial expression book that you can see I started utilizing in today's page. So we'll do a little bit of this today, just to kick out that jam. But yeah, okay. You still got the link, right? Or do I got to give you a new one? Is it a new one or is it still the same one? Hold on, I'll give you the same one. I'll give you the new one. All right. Un momento, silver plate. Well, I sent something over to Mr. Pate. We're going to have a guest. I'm listening to the soundtrack of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 today. And it's got me listening to songs I haven't heard in a while. So, that's interesting. All right. Is it sent yet? Come on, robot. Finished drawing of 57. Is that page 57? That's pretty good, buddy. Is it sent yet or not? Sent. Good. Blank. Okay. So, we got a fun situation going on today where somebody's going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about something I got in the mail. So, yeah, if you're interested in meeting creators, we talk about their projects when they come in there. Stick around. It's going to be more fun than a bear doing their business in the woods. I got nothing. I have nothing today. Okay. Hey! It's Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Welcome aboard. Rachel, when you're up to it, I'm going to get you on the stream here and talk about your alpha beatery stuff, if you're keen with that idea. All right, I'm going to set these here for a moment. Okay, so just to be cheeky, I'm just going to use an image off the cover and start drawing some faces. And we'll go from there. I just got to go and get a pencil. But we're going to have a guest in a few moments joining in with us too. So, it's going to, you figured out who it is. It's going to be that saucy monkey. All right. Yeah, Laurie is really enjoying reading Gary Hodges' books, and which is nice. It's an interesting thing to see somebody outside of the dynamic of, because my partner is really not one for reading comic books on a regular basis, and when they sit down and engage in the reading of those, it means something. It means something important. So it's kind of nice. I dislocated my thumb earlier this morning, and it keeps popping out. I'm gonna need a new thumb. We're gonna need a new tummy. Okay. All right. Paul, if you're still here, I sent you a link to the faces of books. All right. In the meantime, so what I'm gonna do today while we're chatting with Paul is I'm gonna get cracking on the next page, and in the course of doing so, I am going to be drawing a bunch of the faces just off the cover of this silly old Willy book, and we'll go from there. Yeah, sounds like fun. Sounds like fun, Chris. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thanks, guys. In the interim, if there's anybody's got projects coming up or anything that anybody wants to talk about, please feel free to do so. Let us know in the comments, and we'll get the word out. Yeah. I noticed recently that I don't know if he's here or not, but Frank Salazar's doing a bunch of cards. It looks like cards or pinups of some of his characters. So 1, 2, and a half. Hey, no, thank you for sending me those images. That was super cool, Rachel. But yeah, I dislocated my thumb. It's like when you pop it out. Well, I don't know how often that happens for other people, but it happens for me once or twice. Okay. I sent it to Paul. If you're still here, I sent it to FB. I think it's FB, not Insta. So, okay. So I have neuropathic dystensia. So what that means is you'll see when my hands are moving more, they're less moving than normal because they're always wiggling around with me. That my fingers are a little bit bent and crooked, right? So what it is my fingers, the muscles told my fingers to do this so much that it breaks down the muscles themselves and it just leaves them sort of bent up, contracted a little bit. And it's uncomfortable. It's been like that for years. Since my thing first started when I was 28, but you get used to it. So that's why I'll dislocate a finger and just pop it back in, continue with it. So because I'm ridiculous because you can't stop drawing. Oh, I see somebody's chair. We're going to get them on in a second. I see somebody's back. Oh, I see the rest of them. You ready? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. All right. Yeah. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Chris.
Let me cut this down a little bit. I got the soul music going on in my ears.
Every time I come on your so far it looks like a mess.
What's
Last
that?
time I just got back from a run.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and then
was somebody chasing you?
Huh? Yes, yes. Father time.
Whenever we're going for a walk and I see somebody jogging along, I go, check it out. That person's not even getting chased by anybody. I say it every time. I get the same response every time.
Yeah, my wife and I, we like to go for a walk. We walk every day.
Yeah, same here. But it's like when I see these people that it's called jogging. Maniacs. What's wrong with those people?
Yeah,
no one's
I've been
after
trying
them.
it. It's not as like it used to be, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I got a lousy knee from slipping on. I got off a bus and I slipped on the ice, and I'd been working construction all day out in the cold. Oh. And so my whole body was completely frozen. And so when I slipped and I caught myself slipping on the ice, I just, should have hit the ground. And no, I caught myself. And I just knew that was not good. Something happened there. So I go home and I'm completely spent. And I literally just climb into bed. And because my body's kind of in a state of shock because of what I just did to my knee, I just went right to sleep. Right?
Oh, no.
And in no time flat. And then I wake up a few hours later screaming like a newly awakened baby. Because I turned over in my bed and my knee moved and I realized that I tore my cartilage.
Oh,
and
man.
So that never really mends. So I've still got that old cordy knee. So I can't really do a lot of jogging or stuff like that because my knee can't handle the impact of it. So I want to show everybody some stuff I got in the mail.
Oh,
look at this dapper looking maniac. Who's this kid?
Never looked so good.
Oh my gosh, huh? You've aged well over the years. This is some of the stuff that I got in my mail last night. Found it just before we went on our walk. So opened up, looked in the mailbox, and here was a number of things that you've sent along. I don't know how long it's going to take stuff to get to yourself. I've got stuff coming to you and a couple of other people right now, and just a matter of getting it out there.
Yeah.
But these are really fantastic. And then I've already got through A bloody fistful of $50.
That was so stupid.
That's not at all. That's a great title. I love that sort of stuff. There's Daniel Close book called Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron. The title is so much better than the book. And yeah, I know a lot of people love the book. That's great. But that title is so good. Like it's just so extreme. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Love the hat. There you are.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
I think you've always got a different hat when you come on. How many hats do you own?
Let's see, probably 4 or 5. Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big hat guy. I'm short a few. Well, that's not including my baseball caps. So maybe.
How many baseball caps? 29.
Right.
So the other two books that I don't know if people realize how thick these things are.
Yeah, it's no small task reading one of these.
Well, sure, but it was no small task for you to create these. And Welcome to Rust City. Great title, right?
Thank you.
But Detective Perez and the Rust City Stabber. That's a great title. This is a good title. That's a great title. And it's
really?
Not to diminish this, because they're both good, but they're Stabber. Great one. Yeah, these look fantastic. And I haven't had a chance to sit down to them yet. I've got through the 2 smaller books, but I haven't got a chance to sit down to these yet. They look just fantastic. So when you're working on these, this is largely digital work.
That one I did on
Is this traditional?
paper and ink.
This is traditional.
Yeah.
And these ones here are
digital.
This is digital. Okay. And then this guy is digital.
That one, actually, I don't recall.
Do you have a gigantic stack of paper? Because that's what it would have taken to make this.
Yeah, on the first one I did, I had a 3-ring binder and a gigantic stack of paper, because I did it all on typing paper with my favorite pen, the Flair felt tip pen.
That's a pretty straightforward pen.
Yeah, and that's what I did that with, but then I did the shading on my computer. So
okay.
And the lettering, of course.
Dee Dee saying hi to you there, Paul.
Yeah, hi Dee Dee. I was waving. I didn't want to interrupt Chris when he was talking.
Oh no. She says, "Hiya, pants."
Yeah,
there's a
You don't know.
And then Rachel says it's or creating these. Congratulations on the creating of your books here, buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's Rachel saying that. That's these are great. These are absolutely fantastic, and it's such a dense amount of material. I don't want to spoil the last page, but yeah, over 100 pages each. You said
200.
And one of your articles. This one's 239, and this one is 227. And in your one solicitation, you wrote over 100 pages each.
Oh, really?
These are over 200 pages.
I guess I'm goofed there, huh?
What's that? No, I thought it was modesty. I thought it was you being modest and saying,
I'm going to take credit for where I can get it.
Well, they're fantastic. So,
thanks.
Yeah, I think it was you being modest. But do you want to give people a rough idea about what they're getting here in each one?
I mean, it's a hard-boiled detective story about Detective Perez in Rust City. Solving murders and taking on gangsters, and I don't know. It's kind of I like The Wire and Homicide: Life on the Street, that old show a long time ago. I also like Law and Order, ripped from the headlines, that kind of stuff. But then I'm also just kind of ridiculous. So some of the plot lines are just like this one has vampires in it. So
can I give away one thing from this one?
Oh yeah, that one's just really ridiculous. Okay,
so there's a shot in here that cracked me up. Like I literally laughed out loud. Wow. Yeah. It's a tooth knocked out. Wow, that hurt. What are you? I'm done. I said, what are you? I'm a troll.
Yeah, trolls. Yeah.
I'm done. That's fantastic. Yeah, there's something brilliant about that. I love the sort of authenticity in characters where
Yeah.
the perfect dialogue that you see in these the perfect quips, the perfect dialogue between characters, and everybody's all right. Uh, that's always it's one of the things that I actually find contentious about Marvel movies is that everybody has witty repartee.
Yeah.
Or if they don't, if they have, yeah, well, you are, then that's that character's whole shtick is that sort of bad response.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you look ridiculous, Ant-Man. You do. Like that's his gist. But in this case, there's so many different authentic characterizations that you put in your stories.
And
Like that.
Detective Perez is kind of like everybody's straight man
Yeah.
because he's just really straightforward, a straight guy. Like he's real methodical. He just does what he's supposed to do, and that way I can have fun with all the other characters when they can become ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Well, we talked about that recently here on the stream. We talked about how so many characters are boring. And the reason that they're so boring is that, and I don't mean boring as in they're terrible characters, they're bland, nobody's going to like them or connect to the characters, but they are far less interesting than all of the people around them, and all the people around them that ooze so much more persona. Like John Wick. John Wick is a blank slate.
Yeah, right.
Shouldn't have killed my dog. Like just right.
Right.
Or you've got Tom Cruise in anything, and
right. In anything, yes.
You can count on Sean Connery to be the
replays all the time.
What's that?
The one character he replays all the time
is Tom Cruise, and there's just sort of this thing about those characters having that sedate persona, so that all these other characters around them are the ones that give humanity to the story.
Yeah.
And so if you're utilizing that same sort of thing with Detective Perez, that's to me that's awesome. Especially when you start bringing really extraneous elements like vampires in. What's that?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing. I'm not real sure sometimes, but I think that might be what I'm doing.
Well, creatively, we all do that, right? yeah, that's what I meant. Mm-hmm. Solve the world's, hunger crisis. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah. Rachel says is kind of like the opposite of Clouseau, right? Like Pink
Panther, Inspector Clouseau?
Inspector Clouseau, yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But I mean, there's a wonderful thing in Inspector Clouseau is that his arrogance is so high that it there's no way it can match his ineptitude, right?
Right.
And everyone around him plays the straight man. It's just like a reversal of type.
I don't know now. But wait a second. Now that I think about it, like in Welcome to Rust City, he has to go. Not to give away too much, but he has this like whole undercover persona that he has to do, and so I don't know. Maybe he doesn't do the right thing all the time. I don't know. It's just
Well, I mean, you gotta have flaws in your characters, and
right. That
he execution of story, you gotta have them misstep because it makes it more compelling.
Yeah, right. He definitely has like he has poor judgment sometimes.
There's characters that they'll write into stories. Like there's a lot of really successful Marvel characters in that universe. Let's just use that as an example because of their foibles, because of their flaws, right? Like the Hulk is always second guessing himself. He's always a case of self-doubt because he's always trying to hold the rage monster at bay. And there's a depth to that exhibition. Right. But so he can figure out things, he can come up with the science and break them down, and it doesn't look like it's this effortless Tony Stark walks in and goes scoodly-doo, and suddenly there's the magic device, which it just shows you how ridiculous that character can be. as opposed to the Bruce Banner guy who he works it through, or the Ant-Man Senior played by Michael Douglas. He works through those problems. And then you've got other characters like even Nick Fury. Nick Fury has human flaws. He's got that scarred eye for a reason, right? But then you've got like this fourth quarter of Marvel movies that they've been putting out for the last couple of years, including these TV shows like the Scarlet Witch.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen very many Marvel movies. But.
Well, I gave up after Endgame. I gave up because that story arc was wonderfully done. And where are you supposed to go without that? Or where are you supposed to go after that? With either it has to be raise stakes for the continuance of it, or
right.
it has to be a tear down of the existing situation, like a complete disruption of that and having to rebuild. And they didn't do either of those things. Right. And then just before the end, they did the stupidest thing. They introduce one of these absolute characters, and it was like the Captain Marvel movie was a bad movie with bad character development and a character who is fundamentally flawless and can do anything, including punch a way through the big bad spaceship. Like it's just, if there's no frailty on any level, the character has
no risk.
No risk at all. You're right. If there's no risk, no frailty to somebody, then you don't. Why would you feel compelled to watch that?
Right.
And then they ham hock that character in as the savior effect in the last movie. Right. So, Rachel, thanks for stopping in, Rachel.
Yeah. Bye, Rachel. Have a good one.
Very compelling. Hey, it's Cat and Paste. Hey, nice bucket hat. Now you look like the tough guy in your latest novel.
Gone fishing.
There you go. There you are. All right.
That's right. You got to have something on the line with these characters, you know. Usually,
well, it's important.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think the thing that really flipped the idea of stakes raising for me in any story was probably Psycho.
Psycho?
Yeah, because for the first 45 minutes of that film, the protagonist is the secretary in the real estate office who decides to make off with $25,000.
Okay.
And then she takes off on the road, and it starts with her having an out of marriage engagement with a fellow who's already married, right? Like that's. That's explicit. And then she scampers off with 25 grand from her work. And in the 1960s, that was substantially more than it is today, but not enough to destroy your entire life over. And then she ends up finally at this little cheap motel on the side road. And then when she's having a shower, we switch main characters. It's the weirdest thing. And when I remember watching that as I'm probably a teenager, and realizing that the rest of this film, she's not coming back. She's dead. This movie literally walked us through all of these processes with this character and their emotional conundrum, and then switched her out for someone else.
So did you like that? I don't think I've
ever seen it. It was brilliant.
Oh, really?
Psycho? You've never seen Psycho?
No.
Wow. Yeah. Everybody sees the shower scene. Right? But no, there's so much more complexity in that film.
Yeah.
Hitchcock in general is really complex, right?
Yeah.
And then other things like The Birds. The Birds is another one. He likes to put characters
that movie. That scared the crap out of me.
Well, sure, right? Those fake birds that are fluffing up against the side of a phone box.
Yeah. That was nuts. Yeah.
It's what it is that footage, the realistic footage in the background of all those actual birds stirred up. So,
Some of my favorite movies as a kid were the things that scared me the most were vampire movies, and so
Is that right?
yeah, just the cheesy, like, where you thought you got all of them, and then there's one left in the back of the pickup truck. And then
Oh,
they
and so as
kill,
the vehicle
that's like
pulls
the
away, he
girlfriend
looks
and
out the
boyfriend.
trunk.
They kill the one in the back of the pickup truck, and they think they got it away. And then the guy's driving, and he looks over at his girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight."
Oh, did you ever? We talked about this yesterday. I mentioned Shadow of the Vampire on the stream here.
Oh,
Have you seen that?
I don't know. Maybe is
It's
it?
it's an
Oh,
art house film starring John Malkovich as F.W. Murnau filming Nosferatu.
okay. I don't think I've seen that.
He's the director of Nosferatu, and apparently when Malkovich was portraying F.W. Murnau, he was doing an impression of Werner Herzog
Mm-hmm.
for his characterization. Udo Kier's in it, Eddie Izzard's in it, Carrie Elwes is in it, but Willem Dafoe plays the vampire,
Oh yeah, he makes a great vampire, I'm sure.
right? And
He looks kind of like one anyway.
it's fantastic. It's absolutely
I'll
fantastic.
have to check that out.
Dee Dee is referring to Fright Night from 1985. Fright Night scared the willies out of a lot of people because the graphics on the vampires, the vampire in Fright Night, it's very, very natural. Where he has the scary vampire face, and it came across as very natural and not so much of the fake teeth and all that.
Yeah.
Well, these look fantastic, sir. I
Well,
am looking forward to the sitting down and curling up and with one of these here good books and reading away. I don't want to spoil stuff, so I'm going through really fast. But these look great. They really do. And again, I commend you on the Rust City Stabber. That's fantastic. I love that very much. And then of course this is the same city, but in the future.
Right.
That's fantastic.
And that story is just, I don't even know.
And there's trolls. There's trolls.
There's trolls and a drunk guy and a hooker, I think.
All the stuff for the kids.
Yeah, not for kids. Not for kids.
No, not for kids. Yeah, I really like those.
Well,
So right now, you want to talk to people about what you're working on now?
Yeah, I just I just got done drawing page 57 for my third one, which is called Detective Perez Autotropolis. So
what's it called?
Autotropolis.
Autotropolis.
Yeah, Detective Perez Autotropolis. And Autotropolis is kind of like a stand-in for Buick City. Buick City was back in the 70s and 80s was the largest car factory in the world.
And that was in Michigan there.
Yeah, and I think they employed up to 250,000 people at one time or something.
Holy camole!
And so the site is still there, but it's just like a bomb had been a nuclear bomb. And it's almost like a post-apocalyptic, kind of waste. It's like
whatever's left of it now.
Yeah. It actually was a Superfund site, which is like the federal government has to clean it up or something. Oh, anyway, wow. But I just imagine like all these, city kids and gangsters and things sort of going there and salvaging all the pieces and parts and making all kinds of cool robots and stuff and what that would be like. And so that's
kind of cool.
That's kind of where the taking off point of this story is.
Okay, yeah. And it's going to be Detective Perez gets embroiled in something in that scenario.
Yeah. And there's just the whole Rust City, drama continues.
So with your character of Detective Perez, like, is there Perez? Which, am I saying it wrong?
Perez, yeah.
Perez. I'm sorry. No, so with your character, and is this something that you can see a great deal of stories that you can get out of this character? Like there's
Oh
great
no, no.
moments.
For me to come up with a Detective Perez story takes a long time. It's real difficult. So this is only the third one. I mean, it'll take me a year to draw it or to finish it, and then I don't know how many more of those I'll have. I mean, it's not like these Marvel series or anything. I mean, each one is standalone, and I mean he's a character, and I don't know if he develops throughout the books, but
So is it like is there a substantial change from one book to the next so that you need to read them in a specific order?
no, they stand alone. Yeah, you don't need some of the characters appear in them, reappear, but they're no. It's not a series in terms of chronological or anything.
I think that one of the big things that can be challenging in the mainstream superhero market, it's that how do you have a cumulative outcome if your character can just Batman does this week and then next week
Yeah,
he's
I'm not interested in that. I'm just not. I like a story to be. I don't want a story that just goes on forever. I like a beginning, a middle, and an end.
yeah.
And so,
Well, there's a character. There's a film that Rain. I can't remember his last name. The fella that did Last Jedi, he did a film called. He's done a number of really great noir films like Brick. He did Looper,
okay.
and then he goes and does Last Jedi, and now he's got Knives Out.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Knives Out is absolute masterclass.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It really is. But the sequel to it, I couldn't stand.
You're not the first person to say that. I mean, I enjoyed it, but yeah, it wasn't the same, was it? I mean, it was.
Well, I think the problem with the second one is that I appreciate what he's trying to do, and I appreciate the types of characters he's trying to introduce. The problem being is that in the original, like in Knives Out, he introduces all these characters. They're superficial. They're none of them have any real weight or bearing on the outcome of their lives. It's entirely dependent on somebody else, and yet they have this sort of arrogant self-worth. I've done all of these things. Well, yeah, you're a publisher, sure, but that's because your dad lets you be the publisher of his books, right? Like it's not like you're the publisher. You built your publishing empire because of going out and finding writers and so on and so forth, and little things like that in there.
Yeah.
Whereas, the film exposes all of the superficiality of these people,
Right.
and how full of baloney they all are.
Yeah.
Like the one kid who's constantly texting very right-wing things on his phone, and then his cousin, who is her mother's the flaky lady, who was she's basically Gwyneth Paltrow, and her daughter is on her like 4th, 5th major at college, and never really finishes any of them.
No, is this Knives Out or
this isn't Knives Out? Those two kids,
yeah,
and yet they're constantly arguing and belittling, each other. Like so,
right.
even the kids are these sort of turdy characters. The reason it works so well is because of there's a simplicity to it. Like there's an authenticity and family of just tearing each other apart and stripping each other down.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And you can get the same thing in regular people, but I think the problem that the sequel has is he had to exaggerate it to such an extreme sense by having them all be celebrities.
Yeah. It was almost like it was having to outdo the first movie, right?
Well, of course he's trying to raise the stakes from what the first film was, but it's not quite the same as just trying to raise the stakes from what the first film was. It's almost like he had to push everything to the 10th power.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it falters. Because of all the name dropping.
Yeah.
It just
I hope I'm not trying to do that. I use one character. He's called the Man.
Yeah.
I think he's in all three of the books, but he's just sort of a side piece, just an aside to the story, and he's just sort of a part of the story, I guess. He doesn't have to be, his character doesn't have to develop or anything. You know what I mean? He's a bad
a support character.
Yeah, he's just a support character, and I don't know if that's like I know I've heard every character should have a whole backstory, and then everything, they should be fully fleshed out, and I don't know, just kind of with mysteries or these kind of action and adventure stories, I don't feel like that's necessarily true because some of the characters are just there to die.
Well, yeah, but I mean that works. Like, why would you give some elaborate 20-page introduction to a character that there's nothing meaningful. There's nothing of value in the fact that they're not going to make it past page 21.
Yeah, and then there's like tropes and like the bad guy, the gangster, he acts a certain way. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of it's like westerns. That's what like the western. Half the story's told before it's even started because you hear that it's a western. You kind of know a lot about the or a space kind, outer space movie. Because it's there's just a lot of things you just kind of assume and take for granted.
Yeah, there's definitely a thing where in certain of those narratives that you're talking about where they got to preamble so much stuff.
Yeah.
It was a dark time in the hills of Nebraska.
Yeah.
Right. And but a lone man, and here's a silhouette of him walking over the top of a hill. But a lone man forged his way into the territory to make his mark.
I mean, for better. No, the cool thing is when you got all that going, all the sort of canned, sort of cheesy stuff that is coming, and then you can hopefully pull a surprise out.
I would hope so.
And take them on a fun.
Well, definitely give them something they don't expect. This whole niche thing that Disney was tied up in for 5 minutes about with the superhero films and the Star Wars films about defy the viewers. I don't know what that expression was, but it's basically trick the viewer from what they thought they were getting.
Yeah.
That's something that most stories do in the first place. Why people thought that this was a new feature in filmmaking, I don't know. Like, I mean, I used to call it the Shamalama Ding Dong. Do you know why I called it the Shamalama Ding Dong?
Why?
Because M. Night Shyamalan does it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's classic for that, right?
So I call it the Shamalama Ding Dong.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I got to get hands to him. Like, some of his movies didn't land with me, but he always tried, swung for the
fence. Sure he does. Like, The Village is fantastic. I thought that one was a lot of fun. And, but it has a lot to do with his casting choices, too. He can choose some really lame ducks. His new film, the Drax the Destroyer and Ron Weasley from Harry Potter and two other actors show up at this house in the woods where these two dads and their daughter are confronted by these four people from out of nowhere, and the world is a world. They got to make a decision in order to save the world.
Okay. Oh yeah, okay. I didn't see that one.
I can't remember its title. Well, I watched it already. I had no idea it was a M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong until the end of the movie, and it doesn't. That film's an okay film. It doesn't disappoint.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's not half bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm never gonna forgive the time I've wasted watching Mark Wahlberg. It's the plants. Terrible. It's the plants, man. We got to get away from the plants, man. Everybody get in a Jeep. Yeah, he's a science teacher.
Yeah, with the muscles. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a science teacher. That's what they sound like. Hey, man, it's the plants. They're trying to teach us something. Visually,
I don't
there's a
know.
lot of compelling imagery, though.
I'm not a, I don't know. I hope you enjoy the books.
Oh well, I've already enjoyed the art book, and I've already enjoyed the 2099. So thank you very much. I'm really enjoying going through those. We're very excited.
Drawing, I'm not sure I like that drawing or not.
What's that?
It's a fabulous drawing, but I don't know who that character is there. He's kind of.
I don't know. We'll get to him in a second. I like the fact that you sat down and you're going through the page by page by page. You know, getting that. What are you, 56 pages now?
Yeah, I just finished 57.
57 pages done.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going for it. You're just sitting down and methodically working through the production of the whole thing. Now, are you texting as you go? Like you've got the text all prepped and.
Yeah, I've got the script all scripted out. Yeah.
So it's when that page is done, that page is done.
Yeah, I mean, I can go back and change it if I need to. I've made some typos and things, but for the most part.
But that's impressive because most people will finish like the art period, like the art part of it, like the penciling, or then the finishing, or then go through with the text. But you're just
right. I like to see the finished page, I guess. So, yeah.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, it gives you a sense of this is done and I can move on.
Yeah.
Right, and that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is, right? I mean, I think we can get stuck in. So I was actually today while I was drawing, I was listening to Josh, his stream from last night.
Yeah.
And it was pretty inspiring. He was talking about, like getting stuck on this J.R.R. Tolkien syndrome where you've got this gigantic, epic fantasy story that you're going to work on that's 1,000 pages. Well, if it's 1,000 pages, you don't ever have to work on it because, it's always just an idea. You know what I mean?
Well,
whereas if you have a 20-page or 1-page comic that you're going to work on, well, there's no reason not to get started and there's no reason not to finish, And so then it becomes the reality of it becomes the real thing, So
yeah, but I think that holds true for the 1,000-page project too.
Yeah.
Right, because I mean, the 1,000-page project gives you, page this part of it's done, that part of it's done, that's part of it's done. You just keep moving forward.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, I also watched Javier Hernandez the other night on Artcasters, and he's talking about, he's working on 1,000 pages. It's going to take him years and years and years, but I mean, he's got a goal in mind. So yeah, it's not impossible. I'm just saying, sometimes 1,000-page thing I think is a cop out. Where you don't. It's just where you don't ever have to do anything. It just becomes an idea instead of.
Well, I mean, if it's one linked, continuous, epic scoped book, like at the very least, parcel it out into a couple of volumes of 100 pages each, or something at the very minimum.
Something you can get done, right?
Something that has some sort of arc to it that you can see some level of result at a certain point, so that you can step back and assess what you've accomplished so far, right?
Yeah. Man, that is just so amazing. You're really good at that.
What's that?
You're drawing. You're a pretty good drawer,
Thanks, buddy. You are as well.
Thanks. So, when I get tired of working on my comic and or whatever project I'm on, I like to do portraits.
Yeah, they're
I aspire
really good.
to do portraits like you're working on there, and it's because I can finish it in a couple of hours,
Yeah.
and then it's done, and I enjoy it, and it's kind of relaxing sometimes,
Yeah, well, it gives you that's no different than like smaller project, larger project, right? Like
Yeah,
for you, your smaller project, you tend to structure around your portraiture work.
right. Yeah,
But I mean, objectively, it's no different than I'm going to work on this page. I'm going to get this page done. It's just the difference between that page and a portrait is that portrait is just that one image, that one page.
Right.
But the fact that you're on page 58 now, right? On this, your third volume, the fact that you're on page 58 of it is because you finish this page, do the next page, finish this page, do the next.
Yeah, you just got to keep plugging away with it, and make a commitment to it, and I think part of it too is to have some confidence in yourself that you can do it, and because if you don't, it's easy to fall off and just not.
It's a challenge, I think, for a lot to self-motivate, right?
Yes, Didi says, "Do I do now, Didi? I didn't realize he was drawing my face, and that's so funny." Now, it's so funny because I've been on the. You're the only person I know that I've sat there and watched you draw me. Now this is the second time.
Is that?
I've been on the other side of that a million times, and this is really funny for me because I'm just not used to being on the receiving end of this.
Well, you don't have to sit still. I'm fine with that.
I mean, I know I don't, but I feel compelled. It's hilarious. People always ask me that too. Do I need to sit still? I'm like, no, it's not going to look like you anyway. Just.
There's a funny thing about when you're sitting with people and you're drawing them. The people get more conscious when they know you're doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? People get far more. Should I do this with my hands? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you do that with your hands?
Yeah.
You weren't doing that with your hands 5 minutes. Why are you doing that now? I don't.
Right. Or they kind of get my good side or something,
Yeah, right. Or the very subtle. They completely just start turning to the left every time, and they see you look at them. They just turn sideways. You're like, "What are you doing?" That's my good side. That's my good side. People are funny.
Well, yeah.
I think that your portrait work is really good. It shows too in your books because you've got a really good handle on making sure that your characters are quite unique from one another. Like there's so when you're sitting down and you're working out Detective Perez and everybody else, are you doing full character studies on people, or are you just something that's been expressed here on the stream is that from some people is that the thing about comics and storytelling like that is you got to draw the same person over and over again.
Right. Yeah. Right. I kind of try to pick a real life person or, a couple of people and make them like who would I cast it in a movie, and then just kind of go from there. And then part of it is to the style that I use, kind of the character develops as the story goes along a little bit, but I kind of have in mind, this type of character and type of actor or actress that I would have play this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course I do. Like, have you when you're doing this sort of a casting thing, whether you're using actors or using people you might know, have you ever felt inclined to put yourself in? Are you in the books anywhere as like the greasy guy at the newspaper stand? You know what I mean? Like
like Stanley or whatever. Yeah, I don't think so. Funny thing is like I think I was putting them in the mail for you, and I kind of flipped through the Rust City Stabber one, and I don't even remember half the story. It's like reading it for the first time. I'm like, oh, this part isn't bad.
Well, that's kind of funny. I think that's when you're producing X amount of material, you're always going to look back on things and go, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I'm sure you've got plenty of that with all those one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, I found that when I went through on a stream recently. I just let's just look at the first 100 since like just bring people up to speed, right? And as I was looking through there, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
fifth page. Every
But then
fifth
there's
page.
this. I got a message from a Facebook friend.
Yeah.
It might have been yesterday or this morning, and it was like one of these messages where he'd been hacked. He said, "Look at this video that I found." You know what I mean? And so I was like, "Oh, just gonna ignore it." But for some reason, I clicked on not the video, but just opened like our message stream. And then the message before that was, hey, thanks for the books. I really enjoyed them or whatever. And, I said, oh, thank you very much for the kind words. But I didn't even, and I've seen this guy at the gym all the time, but I had forgotten that I had given him my books,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny.
Did it just take him a while to get to reading them?
No, he had sent me that message years ago.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I just had completely forgotten about it, so now when I see him, I'm like, oh, that's, I don't know why it would matter.
This guy knows what I'm doing. Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
this guy knows all about me.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. But yeah, that's really something, Chris. That's awesome.
I'm glad you like it, buddy.
Yeah, amazing. But yeah, these portraits are, I find the most fascinating thing to draw is the human face. I mean, I could draw it with just a pencil and a piece of paper. And the only thing I could draw for the rest of my life would be that, it'd be people's faces.
Is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't miss anything else. Cars or animals or whatever. I could just draw faces for the rest from here to eternity. In fact, my wife and I went out, we kind of got away for the weekend.
Nice.
Which, it was real nice. And we're sitting around. And so and I didn't really do any drawing. That's not true, but I hadn't planned on doing any. But anyway, so to just kind of get away and just like enjoy looking at people watching, And it was, sure enough, I mean, as soon as I just sort of relaxed, it was like I start seeing all these funny faces, and beautiful faces, and just everybody's face is fascinating. I mean, there's not one person that I don't find, just completely fascinating their face,
So when you started seeing those, are you mean like you were pulling them out of your memory bank, like when you sat down?
No, I'm just looking at all the people around us.
Or immediately as soon as you sit down, you can't help it. You're a people watcher.
Yeah, for sure. Like we were watching this one couple in front of us. Like we decided they were really, really good looking couple, but they were also funny looking. Like they looked like they would be both comedians or something. You know what I mean?
Is that right?
Yeah. So we just I not so much my wife, but I find that I could just do that forever.
You just sort of start making up a story for them as you're sitting there.
Yeah, they're just, their face tells me the story of, it's probably completely inaccurate, but that doesn't matter.
He's a plumber. I'm an accountant. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, I could go on forever drawing faces. I don't know why.
Well, I did the same thing when I was in Toronto last week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't help it. I'm walking around, like thank goodness I have sunglasses on because it's too bright for my eyes. But at the same time, it's not like I'm ogling people. It's literally like just walking around and looking at Like there's this really cool black guy. He had this like incredibly chiseled beard. Like his beard looked like it was just just perfectly placed on his face.
Yeah.
And it's good to have those sunglasses on so this guy doesn't look over me and go like, what are
Yeah.
you looking at me for like that?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I think my wife has gotten used to me. I'm staring at people. I'm trying not to be, rude about it, but I'll stare.
well, you just sort of take stuff in, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the thing
Yeah.
about visual
Yeah.
acuity and the fact that you yourself are always constantly, like I call it, sticking stuff in the memory bank. Like just
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah. I
reasons
actually,
that
I actually whipped out my phone and took some pictures of some of these people so that I could draw them later, And
the first panel of the page I posted today was a shot from our hotel window,
oh, nice.
right? And there's a place in a small town near London called New Sarum, and they have this fantastic old 1950s diner set up still,
Oh, wow.
with the whole counter and the booths and all the business.
Yeah.
And so I'm just absolutely clocking into my head, trying to remember every single little facet of that as I'm drawing the second panel from today's page.
Nice.
Like I just try to access that part of the old noggin.
Yeah. That's the other thing I like. I do like, if I had to pick a second thing, it would be like cityscape type things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are fun for me to draw, especially like stuff where you're not really trying to get too accurate you're just making it up, making up buildings and things like that, because that's just
So
fun.
I found that as soon as my brain finally figured out that not every building is a rectangular box like it is in the comic books you grew up with,
Yeah,
and that cities, like all the architecture of it is just such elaborate shapes together.
yeah,
Then I started enjoying drawing cities, but before that, it was just drawing these boxes. I found it such a slog.
yeah, right, right.
Right?
Yeah,
Like I
that's
don't
why
want to
you have
sit
to.
down.
Yeah, you have to be careful of, like when you're going to draw a 200-page comic, right? And you decide to draw the city, the backgrounds, sort of accurate perspective, accurate. What do you call it? In perspective,
Yeah.
with accurate perspective. Oh yeah, you're in for a lot of work, man.
But depending, however you start, you're sort of setting yourself up for, oh God, I got to do this the whole thing.
Yeah, you kind of
What
need
have
to
I,
think about that before you
what have I
before you
done?
embark.
Why did I choose this? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
I'm just going to draw. I'm going to draw all the houses in my next book like they're done by a 5-year-old.
yeah. I mean, I think it's a real, it's a
Just to
real
liberate
decision issue.
myself from having to do it, with any sort of degree of complexity.
Yeah, like Gary, drew that one girl with a plaid coat on.
Yeah, I know. And he went and created some program where, he could replicate the plaid and stretching it over the form. And I'm like, I love that. And there's no part of me that could figure out how to make a program work like that for me. I recognize that about myself, is that I don't have the facility for technology like that. And, and I would be the guy who would literally draw every one of those shots of her in that coat, like the old fashioned hardcore way by hand.
Yeah.
Just because, I am in the facility to figure out that tool the way he did. And I think that's fantastic that he did. I mean, it's because he knew he has the capability to draw. He just didn't want to. And I don't blame him.
Right. Yeah, but I'm wondering why he put her in that in the first place.
Well, because it fits the time period.
Yeah. Right.
Like there's these photos of me in those days in that same time period where I'm head to foot in plaid. Like it's just, plaid shoes on, little plaid jacket. I got some plaid pants on today. That was the 70s, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like somebody I knew growing up, they're like, man, I wouldn't wear bell bottoms like everybody else back in those days. I wouldn't be wearing bell bottoms like that. I'm like, I don't think you understand that pants were either straight cut or flare. There was no difference. Like you didn't.
Right.
didn't make skinny jeans at that time.
Right. Hey,
So
and
yeah,
listen, no, I can brag about something. I
what's
never
that?
once owned a pair of Stonewash jeans.
No,
Nope.
no stone wash, no acid
No,
wash.
no Stonewash here, man. Strictly whatever you call it. Solid colors, maybe? I don't know. But
I
I did have some hammer pants.
oh well, there you go.
So that
Stop.
cancels out the
Did you really?
Stonewash.
You wouldn't think that that's just as bad?
I think the hammer pants are way worse than Stonewash.
I had a pair of Stonewash, but it was at that period of time where I was growing extremely fast, and so they didn't last me very long before they were floods.
Oh
And
yeah.
I couldn't wear them. So
Yeah, yeah. It'd be hey, maybe 6'6".
yeah, I did 8 inches over the course of the spring summer months one year.
Wow.
I grew a substantial amount, and so your body's always in pain when you're growing that much like that.
Yeah.
And but you go through clothes like a maniac. You might as well run around like Huck Finn with bare feet because your shoes aren't going to last you that long.
Right.
We just took our grandkids to get shoes at the shoe store, Payless shoe store, at the other side of town, like literally the opposite side of the city we live in of 500,000 people, less than 500,000, but we drove to the opposite side of the city because it's the place that I can go to that has an entire selection of size 15.
Yeah. Wow.
So those things count. But it was funny getting the grandkids' shoes. This one's a 12 and this one's a 1, and I'm like, what? How can one be 12 and one be 1? Because it's been so long since I bought kids' shoes that my brain just sort of forgot that they move up every so many years to a higher scale. That's why two kids that are a year apart can be difference between 12 and 1.
They start over like the clock or something,
Yeah. we got them sorted out.
That's good. You got them sorted
out. And then we went to the circus.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. There was a lady hanging from the ceiling on scarves, and my descriptions of circus performances are never going to make any sense, by the way. There was the guys that would jump on the teeter totter and knock their friend up onto a chair. Yeah. There's all of those little bits and bobs.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of a few weeks ago we went to this live art competition.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. It's called Art Battle. And it's a lot of fun, but they had some it was held, the venue was at an aerial fitness place. So they had a couple of these I don't know what you call them, but they're kind of like circus performers,
Yeah.
With hanging by the what do you call it? Drapes or
scarves?
Scarves, yeah. Spinning around and stuff.
Drapes makes far more sense, by the way. Scarves.
I think we're both wrong, but that's okay. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it was pretty
links of fabric.
So yeah, it was pretty fun. It was really cool.
There's a place in Toronto called Castle Loma. A guy years ago built a castle, and went bankrupt in the process of doing it. And it's still there as a big touristy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to Castle Loma, in the Great Hall, which looks like a medieval hall, there's this lady hanging from the ceiling in scarves, and I'm like, ugh. I found it just disconcerting because we're up above her, and it looks like at any given second she's going to fall on her head.
Right.
Because we're up on the second balcony looking down. It's like, lady, what are you doing? Right?
So I didn't catch any of your streams from the hotel room. How did it go?
So I did one from the hotel room. I did I just did the one. The other day I was sitting in a park getting talked to by this crazy lady, and you know, she's telling me that she's very taken with JFK, and that's a face of nobility. Ron DeSantis looks like a liar, and I'm like, okay, they're just people. They're both just people. I couldn't speak to either of their characters. Both of them have some checkered business in their lives, and well, not JFK. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course he did.
Like the president?
Yeah, John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. Huh.
Like he was just a man. He really wasn't King Arthur of Camelot. Come on.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty sketchy in a lot of ways, wasn't he? I mean, I'm not an expert on the topic, but
I think that there's an underlying word that sort of it's just sort of makes me assume the term sketchy, and that's politician. So
right. And not in the way that you're sketchy. Right.
Oh, I'm definitely sketchy.
Yeah, you are. Look at that. That's amazing.
He's just a person. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah, I know. I try not to. Yeah, and as soon as you set someone up on a pedestal, they're gonna disappoint you. You know. So.
Well, do you find that thing that if you ever try to sit down on the grass, off the path, by yourself in the shade, just going to draw out here while I'm waiting for, partner, kids, whatever it is. And somebody always inevitably just appears beside you, like they sort of scoped you out and arced around you 100 feet, and then comes around and goes, "What are you drawing?" Yeah. Hey, how do you feel about JFK?
I actually had pretty good luck. Was it Sunday morning? I think I went to. My wife slept in, and I went down to this coffee shop at the town we were staying in, and got a coffee. And I like to draw in the morning, and so found a table, but the table was like a high top table, and it's kind of right, and I didn't think of it at the time, but it's right like out in the middle of everything. It wasn't tucked away anywhere. But nobody bothered me. I was able to just sit and draw. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have like more of a grumpy look on my face or something.
Well, I was trying to pull the grumpy face. I was trying to pull the leave me alone.
I'm drawing. What are you drawing?
Murder plans.
Right.
I'm missing a whole. Am I missing? Does Paul feel okay? That's oh, that's nice. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Dee Dee.
Yeah, thank you, Dee Dee. I'm feeling awesome today. Oh, you're talking about his drawing. I see.
So, how's your Saturday morning cartoon streams going?
Well, I didn't have one this past weekend. So.
I know. I actually sat down Saturday morning going, I wonder what time Paul's stream's coming on. And then before I know it, it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
I'm sorry. That was careless of me. I meant to.
I was rocking back and forth crying.
Yeah.
No, I really wasn't. But I tried to catch it this week, and I thought maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I meant to. No. I should have at least. I was going to, and I just completely forgot to say.
Oh, you don't know anybody anything. Like that's like you didn't announce you were going to do it and then not do it. I just sat there going, I wonder if he's going to do it.
Well, no, but you know what? I've been looking for like streams online myself now recently. I find that I do that, in the evenings, and the problem is nobody's doing them. You're doing them during the day. Dee Dee does hers in the mornings. But then everybody else is like California time, so they're on real late. So
I was going to do one this weekend, but my concern is always there's a lot of people that do things on the weekend, and I don't want to interfere with any. Like I don't.
Yeah, you got a nice time set up here.
Well, I just started doing it, and I feel
Yeah.
bad whenever I find out that somebody else used to do it at that time. Like, oh,
Right. Yeah. You don't want to take away. Yeah.
I don't want to interfere with anybody else's.
And that's kind of why I think I picked Saturday morning, is because nobody was doing it, anything that, so.
I think it works. I think it works really well. And it's a good stream. You're just sitting there plowing through and working away.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. I'm surprised how much I can, like, there was one time I worked on a whole page and I was able to talk, and because Jim Luhan, he's always up, and he said, Paul, nobody's going to watch if you don't talk, because I wasn't going to talk. I was just going to draw, And he's like, nobody's going to watch. And I thought, well, that's not too bad. I don't really mind if nobody watches, But
yeah, well, it depends on what your reasoning is for doing it, right? Like, for everybody to give me attention. It's all about me. It's mine about me moment. Look at me. Hey, everybody, look at me. Yeah. There you go. This is Kat just asked, where's the new Posca? The Posca pen that I picked up, Paul, it's a brush pen.
Oh, nice.
So you can't press down on it like you do a regular Posca.
Oh.
It's a brush pen. You have to squeeze it from the top and turn the dial here.
Okay.
To get ink out. But you can get this sort of tapered line.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because it's no different than, one of these Tombow brush pens, right? Like, it's sort of similar to this now.
Gotcha.
It took me a while to get the thing working, and then I don't find it very opaque.
Yeah, you got to put it on quite a bit, huh?
Well, it's even when I go through and I get a nice clean line out of it like this, it's still not as bright as a regular Posca.
Oh, okay. Because you can press down with the Posca?
Kat says they think I need to take the cap off the bottom. Well, I've been turning this thing and pressing this. I just keep the cap. I just keep putting the cap back on it, Kat. Like, I know I got to take this off, and I just put it on so I'm not constantly squishing it. Kat says they think I need to take the cap off the bottom. I'm like, oh no, I've been doing that. I've been doing it and squishing it like this, but
that pushes the ink down.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll do it here once. Hopefully, I'm not going to make a giant mess. So now there's a bunch of a bunch of paint loaded in, right?
Uh-huh.
But I leave this thing on so I'm not constantly squishing ink out of it.
Oh, right. Yeah,
still, I don't find it very as dark as a regular Posca. Marsh Makes Comics is supposed to come on around 5:30 tonight.
Yeah, he's the one that I enjoyed watching during the evenings when I get done with work. But he hasn't been on in a while.
He was in school, I think. So
yeah, that's my thing. The whole reason I do them, Chris, is just I enjoy the social part of it, and so I thought, oh well, here's a chance for me to get on here and have a regular, Saturday morning one But no, if nobody comes on and I'm just sitting there drawing and talking, I'm fine with that, So,
yeah.
So it's been going all right.
Well, I really feel blessed to have met so many cool people and to have that interaction and engagement with folks.
Well, yeah, yours with the with the 1-page stuff and the ideas coming in. That's really fantastic. I really enjoy it.
It's a lot of fun, and it feels really nice that people are getting in there.
Yeah. But I've noticed when I come on, the audience dwindles.
Over time?
I'm
sorry, buddy. I completely missed your joke.
When I explain it, it's not very fun.
For me, it's like, I think it's the right time of day for everybody to just sort of chill and talk about art stuff, or take a break in the middle of the day, or just have something to listen to while they're doing a daily grind. I think that's why that time works. And I think people also enjoy saying, "Hey, monkey, draw this picture."
and then it comes to fruition. Yeah, for sure.
I keep the cap off to keep flow when I use it, but keeping it on to prevent leaking makes sense too. Oh, thanks, guy. Yeah, no, I'm a neurotic, and I'm always I'm the first guy to constantly like, make a big mess out of my stuff, and that I find this cap is really cool. But that's why I'm like, you gotta press this thing, and yeah. Yeah,
Well, this has been awesome. Am I going to be able to be in one of the one pagers there with that face, or
what's that?
is that going in a one page comic?
It's just a drawing of you.
Oh,
well, I've got you in the one piece.
Yeah, the one with Jim, right?
Yeah, I've got the one where it's the Sam Spade, Sam the Private Eye.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. You in that story. I like how that all fits together. Gary's characters from his DVSM.
Yeah.
I think, aren't you an alien in that? I'm trying to remember now. This is the same problem that I have that you have. Is that what the heck did I do in that story?
Yeah, somebody's face comes apart in that one or something. I don't know if it's
I think that no. It's you saying that Jim, there's something wrong with him. He weirds you out at work. And you're saying this, you're making this report to the characters, or you're telling me this and you want me to look into it, see what's going on there at work. And then Gary's characters show up and put the kibosh on all that because Jim's really an alien. So,
but of course,
that's sort of silly. You got to come up with some kind of narrative to tie these things together.
Yeah. Josh last night. The video was last night, but I just watched it today while I was drawing, and somebody was asking somebody actually asked him for advice on how to get started in a comic, and of course Josh was like, well, if you're gonna write a 200-page graphic novel and you got to start somewhere, blah blah blah. Then he was like, kind of caught himself, and he's like, well, that might be too much. So you could do like a 1-page comic like Christopher Ronson, but you got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
So
he didn't give my kind of advice of run. No.
Right. No. Yeah, that's the obvious thing. Run.
What do I do if I want to draw a 200-page comic story? Get counseling.
Yeah, that's right. Why would you want to do such a thing? That doesn't make any
Go
sense.
and talk to somebody. You've got problems to work out, Billy. How do I go about starting to do a 600-page comic story? Go talk to a doctor.
Seek professional help.
Yeah.
It's legitimate advice.
It's real advice. Jim posted a photo of a character that is in his upcoming film. He posted his photo on social media, Jim Luam.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. Like, I just love this character because he's had me do some voice stuff for him. And I'm constantly
the bowling guy?
Yeah. But I'm constantly making references to this character and the voice work that I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
And Gopher strikes again. And then he puts up a picture of the Gopher. It all makes a little more sense now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool that like it sort of lets you tune into it. Like it sort of lets you dial in a little more to the character. So I had a page that I worked on last night because I got this facial expression book. I drew a whole bunch of different faces side by side, all laughing.
Oh, okay.
And then the last one, the character's got this real smirk on their face.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final panel, it just says fart joke. It's like the dumbest. So you're like, okay, happy face, happy face, happy face. There's like no text. And at the end, I go, fart joke. So hopefully, my intention with that is to make the reader then go back to the start and look at all the faces and realize they're all laughing at the last guy told them a fart joke.
Right.
It's so dumb.
Which is always funny.
But that'll be one of the pages that I'm posting this weekend.
Oh,
like
nice.
I've got a few more pages done that I've been showing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll show you this one page. It's actually a 2-page comic. And it's called It's All Junk. And it's one of those things where it's really mixed media. All the panels.
Yeah.
And all the drawings for it. But the whole thing is just about, it's this dialogue bit about one of the characters, they lose a guy on
That what?
space mission. They lose a guy on their space mission.
Oh.
Somebody dies. And, Ted? Right, about Ted. So how to explain this? Ted was climbing on this big pile of tech junk. So then it shifted or like something. Yeah, so Ted got sucked in there, or buried, we think. Then we lost his life signs. So we would have tried to get him out. Piles of junk were very dirty. It's so hard to keep our white spacesuits clean. So we lost Ted. It's like the stupidest story.
Hey, I got an idea. Hey, Chris.
It was just fun to talk about. We followed the signal to its source. It's like a big pile of junk.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Dumb spaceman. What's Kat saying?
Hey,
the first time I've seen Christopher draw a live subject.
I want to take a break from doing my Autotropolis, and so I want to do another one of those Rust City 2099 things.
Nice.
What should maybe if you could come up with a title, I could make the story into it. Like kind of like, reverse of what you normally do.
What do you mean? Like, just you need a title for it?
Huh?
You need a title for a short?
Yeah, like the Bloody Fistful of $50.
Bloody Fistful of $50 is a fantastic title. Right? Like, there's a thing I do with my, hold on, I'll pull it up. One page one. Okay, so in my Sam the Private Eyes, I'll pull up one here.
Bye, Dee.
Hold on, I'm going to switch this is a fun thing I like to do here too. On the Sam the Private Eye pages, I always do these sort of, in this episode, keep up with the times already.
Yeah, right.
Like that's, thanks Dee. Thanks for coming out. That was very nice of you to say as well, Cat and Paste. Yeah, so like, it has, like the whole thing is that she's trying to get a hold of the main character. This is his, his what do you call that? Damsel, his damsel in distress, or his female protagonist, whatever it is. Gal Friday, I think it's called. Yeah. Oh no, Sam doesn't answer. The line's dead. Whatever can I do? And then I put in, what's his name? Top of the World, Ma.
Yeah, Friday.
What was that actor's name?
Yeah.
The
character was Friday, wasn't it?
But he says, I couldn't help but notice you're upset. Maybe this will help. It's a cellular phone. Oh, what? This page is pointless. This page means like there's no deeper meaning here. But because
she's got one of the old-fashioned phones.
Yeah, she's trying to, because it's set in like the 40s or whatever. But in comic world, you don't have to stay to these hard and fast rules. You can step outside of them. It's like you having a private eye story.
He's a time traveler.
Or you have a detective story and there's vampires. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to stick to the conformity of a genre or a time period or anything. It's fantastical, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, I introduced the cell phone into the 1940s. That's why she's like, oh, what? Right? And then there's even in this episode, even a jaded private dick has feelings. Like, because I'm stuck in the whole point of showing you this is that because I'm stuck in Sam the Private Eye, part 1, part 2,
Right.
part 3, right? Because I'm trapped in that sort of, that's what I titled all these Sam the Private Eye pages so that people know it's the same character. The way that I can shake it up is in that subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
Even a private dick has feelings. And then the whole page is about, it was a typical day. It was hot and humid. My head was still ringing from last night. I tried working, paced around reviewing notes from my case. A call came in. It was like, ring, ring, right? Hey, Sam, you stink. Click. Now, why would someone go and say a thing like that? It's the page itself is pointless.
Yeah.
It's just fun to do it. Like the most involved Sam the Private Eye I've ever done is the one that you're in. I think it's in landscape. This is the first 100 that I did this year.
The first 100 were in portrait?
No, the first 185 are in portrait style, and then the first 100 that I did this year are in landscape.
Oh.
I'm on 43 right now. Or no, 40. I'm on page 46. Because I've done 146 pages this year.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, it's not. You're on 50, whatever. You're going as fast as I am. How long ago did I do that page? Maybe I just went past it.
I think I need to get going.
I think so. I think I'm gonna wrap it up too. The whole thing about incorporating all you guys in that Sam. Well, I'm tired of looking for it already. The whole I get so I can't find it. Forget it. Hey, look, you're there twice. So, Paul, from Paul's perspective, how do you feel about this kind of hat? I think I look good in it myself.
I'm not sure what to say to myself.
Say something saucy. Hey, Paul, tell me something you'd only tell me. Go on. I'm just going to keep this around so that anytime you come on the show, I'm just going to interview you with your own face.
You can have me on anytime, literally. You know.
Oh, you're always welcome. You're always welcome. Listen, I just want to put these out for anybody that might watch this. This is your first 2 books. You're working on volume 3 now.
Yep.
And then, of course, there's the short story. I have to come up with a fun title for you for how about Local Gumshoe Gets the Blues?
There you go. Okay, let me write this down. Local Gumshoe Gets the Blues. Let me get my Sharpie out here. Or my flare.
The ones that usually work to go with are the ones you come up with really off the fly, right?
Right.
Local Gumshoe Gets the Blues.
Oh man, that was... Got it.
But these are your first 2 fully finished graphic novels. While Paul might claim on his social media that they've got over 100 pages each, they've actually got over 200 pages each.
100, 200, you know.
Shamil, Shamazel, Hearts, and Pepper Incorporated.
That's exactly it.
The cats with the ladle and the silver bowl. I get you.
Thanks for all the pub there, Chris. I look forward to. You said your books are in the mail.
Yeah, they're getting. We're mailing everything off tonight, so we have because I've been in Toronto, and we got it all packed up now. Because I wanted to go in our storage and pull out more books instead of just my new one. And so I had to go into my closet, and my books are all 8 feet up
Okay.
on a metal shelving system. And so I got to reach up and pull down long
So
boxes.
even for you, they're up high.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing better than challenging yourself pointlessly.
Right.
Well, listen, it's
story of
been
our
awesome.
lives with these comics, right?
Oh yeah, right. So this is what I'm going to be reading tonight, and having read the two smaller books, I'm already really enjoying the way that you structure your story. I'm enjoying the way that you introduce your characters, and they have this sort of very clear individuality to them. I'm Dawn. What are you? I'm a troll. That's just fantastic.
I don't even know about that book. I'm sorry. I feel obligated to apologize for you.
No, it's great. No, I legitimately love that. Like that's fun. If you can make me stop and laugh with the way the character introduces himself because it's unique, then that counts in a huge way because there's so many. Listen to me, I'm Don the Troll, and he punches him in the face, right? Like that's boring. But he hits him and goes, "What in the world are you?" And he goes, "I'm Don." No, I said, "What are you?" And he goes, "I'm a troll." Like it's just like it's so matter of fact.
I don't know. Did you read the? I actually, before I sent that to you, I read the introduction of Rust City. Like the history of Rust City in the very beginning of that.
In the smaller one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it talks about how it's in the future, and yeah, that's brilliant. Again, there's so much brilliance in those books. Like there's all these little facets that you give away about how. Let me pull it. There's a thing that you say in that. In 1908, William Bubba Crapo formed United Engines. I don't know if it's Crapo, but I read it as Crapo.
Crapo?
Yeah, I read it as in 2021. William Bubba Long. It got multiple Bubbas. Fired from his custodial position at UE Powertrain, was officially the last auto worker employed in the city.
Oh yeah, and there was like in some of it was like 2023 or 2025.
Yeah, you just kept going with all these little parts of it. It's like it's the first and only region to ever be expelled from the United States. You're setting a bar for the location when even the United States has said, "No, get out. Just get out. You guys are it's too much. Go, get." That's brilliant. I really appreciate these issues. They're fantastic. Yeah, we're Lori's we're going to the mailbox tonight and putting them all in because I've got 5 things to send out tonight.
Oh, right on.
So after I got home from Toronto, it was a whole packing everything up, right?
Yeah.
And got it all done last night. So so we're gonna mail them off all tonight. There's a thing in Canada where the post office, you got to fill everything out at home first.
Oh.
If you're mailing it to the States, because it's so much paperwork for them.
Yeah, I had a bit of that at the post office when I mailed it to Canada. Like, oh, you got to fill out this customs form and stuff. I'm like, oh man,
is this a bomb? No.
Good thing I'm not sending
yourself. What's that?
Good thing I'm not sending some syrup. So I actually mailed some syrup to my dad recently.
Did you?
Yeah, and I had to like triple bag it. Like I had to take it back home and undo the box and everything.
Oh my God!
Another bag because they wouldn't let me mail it.
So I mailed Frank in Texas. I mailed him a whole bunch of maple syrup things.
Okay.
Maple syrup tea bag, maple syrup candy, maple syrup lollipop, like just all these different maple syrup theme things. And I literally just stuck them all in a bag and then threw the bag in an envelope. There was like nothing special I did about it. Just off it went.
Oh, really?
And he got it. He got it in the mail. So
nice. Yeah, I didn't know if I didn't want to get arrested by this, Secret Service or something. So I didn't lie about how I bagged it up or anything. And then the guy made me like unbag it, and it was a real pain. But
see, we don't have that problem in Canada because nobody even knows that CSIS exists in this country. You have the CIA and FBI. We have CSIS here.
CSIS?
Yeah, CSIS, and no one knows that it really exists.
Oh, see, that's a good story right there.
It's a branch of the RCMP.
Is that a real thing?
RCMP?
Royal Canadian Mounted Police?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Is it really?
It really was. And as you're going across the country into BC and all that stuff, you'd have an RCMP officer that would overlook like this, a few 100 square mile area, and he'd keep the peace amongst the locals and the trappers and he was basically like a Judge Dredd type, judge, jury, executioner. Well, no, he was an executioner, but he was like he'd take down like 3 or 4 fur trappers on his own and tie up their horses one to the next, and they'd all be handcuffed, following them along on a trail. Like it just
that's great.
all those stories you hear about the legendary RCMP stories. There were some real stories that happened, some madness there.
I think maybe I need to have one of those guys come to Rust City 2099.
Yeah, get him to be played by Paul Gross.
Paul Gross?
There's a TV show about a Canadian RCMP officer that went to help on a case in Chicago.
Nice.
Look it up. Paul Gross was the actor on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I think it's Leslie Nielsen was the senior officer.
Oh, yeah?
Somebody like that.
So there's nothing original anymore.
So they go down to Chicago, and so RCMP, you guys always got to wear that red getup, and he's like, oh yeah, we do. It's a national identity. You see that it's very important for us, eh? It's so Canadian. Yeah, look it up. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a real show. All right, sir. I'm going to sign out. I'll be back tomorrow. Anybody at 2:00? Working on the next page. I got a page to post for tomorrow, but I just wanted to hang out with Paul and talk about the books.
Sorry if I threw you off track, man.
Not at all, man. I've got numerous pages. I've got another page already started right here. So I started something. I put boxes on a piece of paper. That's a good start.
Well, as always, Chris, I really appreciate the stream. Love your work.
Well, that's very nice of you. I really appreciate yours, and I'm really, really excited to look at these, to give these two guys a read. So much goodness in those. It's just too much of a coincidence. Okay, you see my point. Thank you.
The gun?
He got that massive gun. Fantastic. All right, buddy.
Have a good one.
We'll see you later, everyone. See you tomorrow at 2:00. Bye for now.